I'm Tiffany Harris. This is my daughter Abby, my husband Bart. I'm the one that took Abby to get a flu shot.
What age?
She was 11 when I took her to get a flu shot. We were headed to California, and I thought, I'm gonna hurry and get her a flu shot, make sure she's, doesn't get sick, because we had a lot going on. Abby was a competitive dancer, did tumbling, she was lead in the school plays, and within 6 weeks she was having headaches, but within 6 weeks the headaches had just been getting worse and worse, and she ended up almost looking like she was a stroke victim. So we ended up taking her to the emergency room, and they said that they thought she had cluster headaches, and I forced the doctor to do a spinal tap, and because all of her imaging came back normal, and I said, there's something wrong. I had meningitis. I think you need to do a spinal tap. He said, I have 5 kids. I would not do it. I said, I don't care. You have to do it. We're here. Do it. And he did, and he came back white as a ghost and said, I don't know what to tell you other than a mother's intuition. Something's wrong with your daughter. She has a high white blood count, and she has protein in her spinal fluid, and we are going to life flight her to Primary Children's. So we were life flighted to Primary Children's. We arrived there. They didn't know for sure what was going on. They didn't know if she'd had a stroke. And so they wanted to wait to see if her brain they knew her brain was swelling, but they wanted to see if her body would fight it off. It didn't fight it off. She laid in pain, agonizing pain, for a week, crying out, because they wanted to not dope her up too much, because they wanted to see her neurologically, her behavior. And they finally came in, did imaging, and said, we have to go in right now and put a tube in her brain. If we don't go now, she will not make it through another day. So they put a tube in her brain, and when she came from that operation, she was not able to even talk or talk to us. She couldn't walk anymore. And so finally, through IVIG treatment and the tube in her brain, we finally were able to get her back, at least recognizing us and talking to us. But she was 3 months in Primary Children's Hospital. She was unable to, she lost all of her, she couldn't talk, she couldn't walk, she couldn't go to the bathroom by herself. She could only barely read Brown Bear book. And when we brought her home after 3 months, the only thing she could do was crawl on the floor. This was a girl who was at the top of her peak in dancing, and she was a strong girl. She was, like I said, was the lead in the school plays, and it took all that away from her. She had to sit and fight and fight and fight to be able to walk again. And still today, she still has residual effects from it, and she's not able to, she sees kids that talk behind her back when she's walking at school. They want to, they're whispering, and it's affected her. She doesn't want to be out in front and center anymore, because she doesn't want people looking at her. So, does anybody else?
The one thing that Abby was diagnosed with cereballitis in the hospital, and she had a secondary Guillain-Barré syndrome diagnosis as well, which we did not suspect the flu shot until this diagnosis was made with Guillain-Barré. My brother-in-law had a episode after a flu shot as well and got Guillain-Barré, and he was the one that came up and said, did Abby have a flu shot, when he heard the Guillain-Barré diagnosis. And this is what the realization came to us at that point. This was the first flu shot that Abby had ever been given, and this reaction had taken place. So the one thing that was frustrating to me as a parent was I asked all of the doctors in the hospital, is it possible that this condition that Abby is in is because of the flu shot? It was denied by all the doctors. Said, no, it's a coincidence. She's just unlucky to have gotten this brain infection. It couldn't have been from a flu shot. Even to this day, still doctors continue to deny that children are being harmed from these vaccines. And that's why I am such a staunch believer in getting the stories out of these children, of knowing that they are being injured by these vaccines, that something needs to be done to, more regulation needs to be done. When a government does not oversee the testing of these vaccines, that the drug companies themselves oversee the safety studies, something is very wrong. And when they have no liability for the damage that they are causing as well, it just breaks my heart to see more and more of these children that are being injured from these vaccines.
I'm sorry this happened to you. How old are you now?
14.
Do you know how beautiful you are?
Yeah, everyone.
I bet those girls are whispering because they're jealous because you're beautiful. You are so beautiful. Inside and out, I can see that. I'm really sorry this happened to you. But your story is going to help so many other people. Because that's what this is all about. We keep telling our stories, Colton's story, your story, and just one person maybe listening and think, okay, thank you, I'm not going to do that. You're saving. Will you sign the bus for us?
Yeah.
Come on, let's go sign it.